Hey, good morning, good afternoon, class. How are you doing today? Hope you're doing well. And here we go. All right. So find the area of this triangular prism. Well, we have to know the formula, and it's area of the base times the height, okay? And so the base, it has to have two congruent sides, the same. So if you see this bottom of this triangular prism, right, it doesn't have an opposite side the same. But if I tipped it up on its triangle, it would have two opposite sides the same, the base, the bottom. So the base is a triangle, and we need to find the area of that. So that would be base times height times a half, or you could do 1/2 times base times height. Well, the base is 15, right? And the height's 4. So that is 60, okay? And then we know half of 60 is 30, right? Okay? And then remember, this is tipped up now, so this would be the height, 20. So we would take 30 times 20, and you end up getting 600. Okay? All right, let's go on to some review of rise over run. So the first thing we have to do is we have to find the y-intercept, and it's 1, 2. So it would be 2, so we'll put it right there, right? And then we have to find where the line cuts right through the middle of the square, or the corner, I shouldn't say the middle, sorry, the corner of a square. And it goes right there, okay? So the rise will be 1, 2, and the run would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, -5. So it's y equals 2 -5x plus 2. All right, let's go over this one. Let's find the y-intercept. And it looks like it's right here. 1, 2, 3. And where does it go through? I'm going to say right here. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then the run is 1, 2, 3. And it's be a positive 3. Oops, I'm sorry. That should have been there, the 3. Okay, so it's y equals 8 over 3x plus 3. Okay, pretty sweet, huh? All right, so it says find the slope and y-intercept for the following equations. All right, so we know that this would be the rise, right? And the bottom number is the run. And we know this is the y-intercept, right? So, what I want to write down here is basically I'm going to write down rise and run. So that would be 2 over 5, and the y-intercept is 3. Okay? And this would be, I'm just going to write this down right here, and then I'll look at it. Y equals a -4x minus 10. So the y-intercept is a -10, right? Well, we have the rise is a -4, but we don't have the run. But you can always just put a number underneath it, and that number would always be 1. So there you go. Okay? All right. Great job on that. Okay. Place the percentages in the pie graph. God, we haven't done this in a while. So here's your circle, right? And you have to put in cake, pie, brownies, and cookies. Sounds good to me. And cake is 60%, pie is 10%, and brownies 5%, and cookies 25%. Well, if you guys remember what I said, we should always probably put in our 25s first. So if I went like this, right? And then I cut across right there, would you agree that's 25%? Because if I did this one, that's 25, and that'd be 25, and that'd be 25, and that equals 100. So here are cookies. Oops. Okay. And that's 25%, right? So let's do cake. because cake is 60%. If I drew a line straight down, right, that would be 50%, because this and this piece would be 25 and 25 would be 50. So we need 60. So I'm gonna go down and probably go like that, because then this you guys can kind of see if I put in this right here, right? This would be half, and I went over a little bit. I probably should have went over even a little bit more, but this would be cake at 60%, okay? So now we have to do brownies. So brownies are 5%, so maybe I just do something like, and this would be the brownies. And that would be 5%. And then pie here, this would be the pie, and that looks a little bigger than 10%, but so you guys kind of get the general idea. If you put in your 25s, it just gets easier to break it down, okay? So because if I drew a circle here, right, would you guys agree that those are 4 pieces? Well, 25, 25, 25, 25 equal 100%. So if I did another circle here and I did that, well, this would be 50 and that would be 50, right? If I did this and I went here and then I went just like that, you can see that I went a little over, so that looks like about 55%. Okay, do you see how you do that? Okay, all right. So the bike costs $789. The tax is 7%. How much is the bike after you include the tax? Well, there's a percent in a word problem, so what did I always tell you should do? Cross it out, make a decimal, and then you change it into, put the decimal, and you gotta convert it into a decimal, and the rule is you always move it how many places to the left? 2. Never once, never 3, never 4, it's always 2. So it would be that. Now you take this number and you multiply it against 789. Okay? Do you have to line up your decimals when you're multiplying? Nope. It just so happens to line up. So now we'll multiply it. 7 times 0, 0, 0. 7 times 9 is 63, carry the 6. 56, 62, carry the 6. 49, and 49 plus 6 is 55. And then it's just 0, so we don't have to worry about it. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So the tax is $55.23. I always say just take the first 2 numbers after the decimal. So the tax is $55.23. So what do we have to do with the tax? You always have to add the tax in. So I write down 789, okay? And what is the rule when adding and subtracting decimals? You always have to line up your decimals. And there you go. So you'd have to add that up and you'd get your answer, okay? Fantastic. All right. 2r is less than or equal to 10. Well, we're solving for r. So we have to get r by itself. So the 2's got to move. Well, the one way I can get rid of the 2 is if I divide it by 2. Now you have r by itself, and the rule is whatever you do to one side, you do to the other. What type of fraction is that? It is improper. 2 goes into that 5 times. So you're saying that r is 5. So if we had to write or draw it on our number line, okay, and say 5 is right here, right? Okay, we circle it, correct? Do we color it in? Yes, because it says greater or equal to 5. So we shade it in. In which way would the arrow go to make this true? It would have to go this way. Okay, so let's see if it's true. Ready? So 2 times 5 is less than or equal to 10. 10 is less than or equal to 10. Okay, since you said you're going this way, put in 4. 2 times 4 is less than or equal to 10. So 2 times 4 is 8, is less than or equal to 10. That is true, okay? All right, what is the rule when adding and subtracting fractions? That's right, you need a common denominator. What goes into 5 and 10? 10. 5 times what gives you 10? 2. Whatever you do the bottom, you gotta do the top. 10 times what gives you 10? 1. Whatever you do the bottom, you gotta do the top. 3 plus 2 is 5. You get 5/10, and 5 plus 6 is 11. This can be reduced. 5 goes into 5 once, 5 goes into there, so it's 11.5 in its final form, okay? I have a jar of jelly beans with 4 red, 3 green, 6 orange, 2 blue. What is the probability of you grabbing a green one? Okay, I've told you guys, or Mr. T has told you, whenever you get a probability, you need a fraction. The bottom number tells you how much you have. So you have to add up all the jelly beans. So 4 and 3 is 7, and 6 is 13, and 2 is 15, okay? And they want to know, what is the probability of you reaching your hand and pulling out a green one? You have a 3/15 chance, or you can say 3 out of 15, okay? So if we had to change this into a percent, well, I'm gonna reduce it first, and that becomes 1/5. And we can always turn a fraction into a decimal, which is a percent. So you put the numerator in the box. 5 goes into 1 how many times? 0 times. And I have told you, and so has Mr. T, whenever you're making a decimal, you can always add a decimal to the back of a whole number, okay? Add a 0, bring it down. 5 goes into 10, 2 times. And we want 2 numbers after our decimal. 5 goes into that. So you have a 20% chance of getting a green one, and you have an 80% chance of not. So the probability of you getting one is not good. All right, so that is that there. And we just have a couple more problems here, a little review. Okay, whenever you're converting units of measure, you go from right to left. So you ask yourself, how many hours make a day? Well, 24 hours do. Okay, so how many 24s can you pull out? You can pull out 1. 30 minus 24 is 6 hours. Okay, you have 11 days. Well, how many days make a week? Okay, well, 7 do. So how many 7s can you pull out? 1. So 11 minus 7 is 4 and 4 weeks. If you wanted to say 1 month, that would work too. How many inches make a foot? Okay, well, 12 inches, right? So how many 12s can you pull out? You can pull out 1, that would leave you with 8, and that's 4 feet, okay? All right, and then, ooh, we haven't done these in a while. 4/5 equals n over 10. Let's do the fish method, remember that? We always start on the variable side and we go diagonal and we multiply. Well, 10 times 4 is what? 40, and then we loop around and then we divide it by 5, and that would be 8. So n equals 8, and we'll make our little fishy. We'll give him some hair. How about that? Pretty good. All right, you guys, we'll see you soon.